After the massive impact of our last encounter, where we stripped away the lies of hybrid chickens, thousands of you reached out with the same vital question. If hybrids are just a high-speed race to early burnout, who are the true long-distance runners? We are standing in January 2026, and the landscape of homesteading has shifted significantly. We aren't just looking for raw, immediate numbers anymore. We are looking for sovereignty, biological resilience, and an investment that doesn't vanish into thin air after 18 months. Today, I'm not just handing you a list. I am giving you the genetic roadmap to make your farm truly profitable and sustainable for the long haul. I've handpicked 6 heritage gems that directly answer today's toughest challenges. Skyrocketing feed costs, the need for birds that can actually forage for their own groceries, and above all, hens that will keep putting eggs in the nesting box when the industrial strains have long since quit. Let's kick things off with what I call the tanks. These birds are your first line of defense, especially for those of you dealing with erratic weather patterns or anyone just starting out who simply can't afford to lose livestock to weak genetics. We call them tanks because their immune systems are ironclad, their feathering is dense, and their ability to process coarse forage is vastly superior to the average bird. This allows you to slash your overhead costs by letting them find their own protein in the pasture rather than relying 100% on expensive processed bag feed. 6. New Hampshire. An evolution of pure vigor and rapid growth. This breed was developed right here in the American Northeast as an intensive selection from the Rhode Island Red, specifically looking for birds that would mature faster, feather out earlier, and possess an almost unbreakable vitality. The New Hampshire is the very definition of resilience. She is a hen that doesn't just lay large brown eggs with rock-solid shells, but she does it with a consistency that will surprise you even during those dark months when the daylight starts to fade. She belongs in this category because her adaptability is universal. Whether you have a barn with a large run or a high-fenced paddock, the New Hampshire stays calm, productive, and most importantly, healthy. Her temperament is docile but highly active, meaning that out on pasture, she is an absolute machine when it comes to hunting down pests, ticks, and seeds. This translates to a direct reduction in your operating costs from day one as she converts natural resources into high-density protein. Her heavy bone structure and well-developed muscle mass also make her an elite table bird once she concludes her laying cycle, fully delivering on the promise of a dual-purpose breed for a 2026 market that craves real, authentic flavor. To take it a step further, the New Hampshire has one of the best hatchability rates among heavy breeds. This makes it incredibly easy for you to hatch and raise your own offspring without needing to rely on industrial hatcheries. They are also known for their lightning-fast feathering process, which is a massive advantage for chicks born in early spring. By the time the cold winds hit, these birds are already fully protected by a thick coat of feathers, reducing the need for prolonged heat lamps and lowering your electricity bills. 5. Rhode Island Red. The backbone of the modern poultry world, rugged and reliable. You cannot talk about success in heritage poultry without paying respects to the Rhode Island Red. She is arguably the most famous chicken on the planet, and for a very good reason. In the right hands, she is practically indestructible. We've placed her in the tank category because her genetics have been forged over a century to withstand harsh winters and fluctuations in feed quality. This is the breed we recommend without hesitation for anyone looking to make a safe transition from industrial layers to a heritage system. Her production is legendary, easily hitting 250 eggs per year under solid management, with the strategic advantage that she will maintain that pace for 3 or 4 years. Unlike hybrids that suffer from metabolic collapse and brittle bones by year 2, the Rhode Island Red stays strong. Her deep mahogany plumage isn't just for show, it's a dense protective shield against extreme cold and dampness. In today's climate, where agricultural inputs are constantly changing, owning a Rhode Island Red is like having a productive insurance policy. They make the most of every ounce of feed and possess a sharp survival instinct that keeps them alert to predators, making them the perfect choice for free-range or pasture-based management. Furthermore, the true heritage Rhode Island Red has a reproductive longevity that allows you to amortize the cost of raising her over a much longer period than any modern commercial strain. While they can be a bit assertive, managing their social hierarchy is a small price to pay for a bird that simply refuses to quit. One key tip for managing their dominance: ensure they have enough feeder space to prevent bullying, and you will see how they become the leaders of your homestead. They are the ultimate homesteader's bird, capable of defending their offspring with a ferocity that few other breeds can match, ensuring high survival rates in natural brooding setups. The golden balance, dual-purpose efficiency. Now we're moving into a category that defines efficiency for the small to mid-sized producer, the golden balance. Here we are looking for the perfect harmony between a generous egg yield and a physical frame that provides both food security and high-quality meat surpluses. These are breeds that pay for themselves not just by what they put in the nest, but by their ease of management and stable temperament. 4. Barred Plymouth Rock. Extreme docility meets absolute cold hardiness. The barred Plymouth Rock, with her iconic and sharp black and white barred feathers, is the all-time favorite of farmers who value peace and order in their coops. She is a bird of a steady, rhythmic pace, capable of delivering large, cream to light brown eggs with startling regularity all year long. We've included her in the golden balance because her temperament is her greatest competitive advantage. These are birds that adapt beautifully to more confined spaces or urban homesteads without developing the aggressive pecking or cannibalism that is a nightmare in industrial hens when you try to give them a little freedom. Her resistance to cold is top tier due to her large, well-feathered body, ensuring that your egg flow doesn't come to a screeching halt when the mercury drops. This is an essential trait for keeping your commitments to local customers who depend on your production. She is the smart choice for the breeder looking for emotional stability in the flock and a predictable, friendly production line. Beyond the eggs, the barred rock has been a staple of American dinner tables for generations because of her fine-grained, yellow-skinned meat, making her a powerhouse for self-sufficiency. Interestingly, the barred rock is often considered the school breed for new poultry enthusiasts. Their predictable behavior makes them the perfect candidates for teaching the next generation of farmers about animal husbandry. Their meat quality is also unique. It possesses a higher fat-to-fiber ratio compared to leaner breeds, resulting in a succulent traditional roast chicken flavor that you simply cannot buy in a supermarket today. 3. Sussex, European elegance with an inexhaustible drive. The Sussex, particularly the speckled or light varieties, is one of the oldest, most respected, and versatile breeds in the world. Her spot in the golden balance is indisputable because of her biological efficiency. At first glance, she might look delicate because of her striking beauty, but she possesses one of the best feed-to-egg conversion ratios among all heavyweight breeds. The Sussex carries a genetic trait that is worth its weight in gold today. She maintains a balanced maternal instinct, being an excellent mother when allowed, yet she doesn't let that significantly derail her annual output of large, cream-colored eggs. This allows you, the breeder, to not only collect eggs for the market, but to naturally multiply and improve your own flock, achieving that genetic independence that is the true pillar of food sovereignty. Her skin is fine and white, and her meat has a texture and flavor profile considered to be of gourmet quality, adding immense value if you choose to market birds to local farm-to-table niches. She is a quiet, rugged worker that stays active foraging even in the rain, proving that elegance and high productivity are completely compatible if you choose the right heritage genetics. A unique advantage of the Sussex is her adaptation to wet soils. Unlike some breeds that struggle with foot issues in damp climates, the Sussex has a natural resistance to environmental moisture, making her ideal for coastal regions or areas with high rainfall. Her light-colored plumage in the light variety also provides a tactical advantage, reflecting sunlight in hot weather to keep the bird cool, while her camouflaged patterns in the speckled variety help her blend into the forest floor, hiding her and her offspring from hawks and other aerial threats. We've covered a lot of ground, from the rugged survivors to the balanced producers. Now, it's time for the true specialists. If your goal is maximum production, where every cent spent on feed has to return a profit, these next two birds are for you. These are the queens of the nest. They are the result of centuries of selection for one single purpose: absolute excellence in the nesting box. There's no room for mediocrity here. We're talking about genetics that have proven that nature, when selected with intelligence, is simply unbeatable. Now for the moment many of you have been waiting for, the podium of honor where productivity meets nobility. If you're looking for a breed that thrives in a managed system with a bit more room than a conventional cage but maintains a relentless laying pace, we have to talk about the pride of the Southern Hemisphere. This is the bird that transformed rural economies and remains the logical choice for any producer who refuses to choose between quantity and quality. 2. Australorp, the world champion of abundance and gentleness. Originally from Australia and perfected from Black Orpington stock, the Australorp is a living legend. She famously holds the world record for laying 364 eggs in 365 days. While on a professional homestead that average usually stabilizes between 250 and 300 eggs per year, her productive capacity is still breathtaking. We've placed her at number 2 because she's an elite layer that hasn't lost the physical frame of a meat bird. Her black plumage with those intense beetle green highlights is stunning. But it's also dense and provides a high level of protection against external parasites like mites and lice. What makes the Australorp ideal for the modern breeder is her temperament. Unlike other high-output layers that tend to be flighty, the Australorp is incredibly docile and easy to handle. This is vital for systems with a bit more space. Her low stress levels allow her to keep laying even when there are environmental changes or unexpected noises that would shut down production in more sensitive birds. However, as a pro, you have to be technical here. Because of her efficient metabolism, the Australorp has a tendency toward obesity if she isn't allowed enough movement. That extra space is the key to success. A managed pasture system allows the bird to burn off excess energy and convert her feed into large, cream, or light brown eggs with superior internal shell quality. To maximize her potential, pay close attention to her mineral intake during the peak of her cycle. Her drive to produce is so high she can deplete her own calcium reserves if the diet isn't perfectly balanced. She is the quiet powerhouse of the heritage world, a bird that works for you every single day without the drama. Furthermore, their offspring grow at a very consistent rate, making them excellent candidates for a sustainable breeding program where you can select the best hens for future generations, while the surplus males provide an impressive amount of meat for the family table. 1. Leghorn, the definitive biological engine for the white egg. The Leghorn is, without any discussion, the most efficient heritage breed on planet Earth. Originally from Italy and refined in the US and England, this bird is the direct ancestor of almost every commercial white hybrid on the market today. But there's a fundamental difference. The original heritage Leghorn retains her natural hardiness and her ability to forage for her own meals if she's given the chance. Her metabolism is a marvel of nature. She has a light, aerodynamic body, which means she spends very little energy on maintaining basic body functions, and almost every nutrient is funneled directly into egg formation. She is capable of delivering between 280 and 300 white eggs every single year. She does this with a persistence in the laying cycle that leaves every other heritage breed in the world far behind. Why is she number 1 for our January list? Because in a 2026 market where grain costs are a critical factor for survival, the Leghorn is the one that best protects your wallet. She utilizes every ounce of feed with mathematical precision. However, you need to know that this efficiency requires careful management of her temperament. They are vivacious, alert, and somewhat flighty birds that prefer constant activity. In free-range systems, they will prove to be the best foragers in your flock, which drastically reduces your industrial feed bill. Their adaptation to hot climates is unmatched, thanks to those large combs that act as natural radiators to cool their blood. Their sexual maturity is the earliest of our entire count, often starting to fill your nesting boxes weeks before the heavier breeds. Modern breeders also prize the Leghorn for the incredible vigor of their offspring. The chicks are highly active from the moment they hatch, showing a lower mortality rate in the brooder compared to many heavy breeds, provided they have a stress-free environment. While they may not be the most affectionate birds, their sheer productivity and low maintenance requirements make them the undisputed champions of the homesteading economy. By choosing the Leghorn, you are choosing the gold standard of output and long-term financial stability. My fellow breeder, we've analyzed 6 options that are true pillars of modern poultry. From the ruggedness of the Rhode Island Red to the unmatched technical efficiency of the Leghorn, the map for your success this year is fully drawn. Don't allow your farm to depend on disposable genetics. Invest in these heritage breeds and take total control of your production today. If this analysis has changed your perspective, subscribe now and hit that notification bell. Share this knowledge with that producer who is still struggling with the fragility of hybrids. It is time to return to the greatness and the profitability of the pure breed. To your success, fellow breeder. See you next time.